It should be good. Okay. Hello, my name is Ari McGriff, and my business proposal presentation will be on ways that we can improve the overall health of employees at Amazon. It'll include my introduction, my analysis, my findings, and my recommendations, and my conclusion. Okay, my introduction is Amazon workers are often subject to working long hours where they stand up on their feet the whole time. And the shifts can be up to 12 hours actually. And during those 12 hours, they have little to no mental stimulation. I actually myself am a worker for an Amazon warehouse. I work at SAV4 in Pooler, Georgia. There's two warehouses in Pooler, Georgia, but I work at SAV4 where we specialize in packing. At least that's what we do on the first floor. There's 5 floors of the building. It employs about like 500 to 600 people. It's a very big warehouse. And there's a lot of workers, so we're all in a lot of pain. Okay. Um, I decided to interview these workers. I am not allowed to go on different floors, so I wasn't able to see how people on floor 2 or floor 3 feel when it comes to their physical and mental health. But most of the people on floor 1 were focused on packing and people who help us pack and sort so we can pack and give us supplies so we can pack and people who watch us while we pack. These are mostly interviews from them. I try to pick people from different positions. So we have packers like me. We have people who do water spider, which is like they bring us the boxes so we can pack. We have people who sort, so they get the items that we need to pack. And we have people who oversee us, like PAs and managers and assistant managers and stuff like that. So I try to get a few different people and ask them these questions. So most people do experience pain from what I saw. And because I did these through interviews and surveys, I did a few short surveys, but mostly I would just walk up to people and interview them, or I would hold a casual conversation with them and ask these questions. And most of the pain that I did record came from feet and back pain. And the most intense pain was usually from older people. But going into this, I separated the sets by age and I separated it by how long they've been working there. So we have under 6 months, 6 months and over, a year and over, and 3 years and over. And then we have 18 to 29-year-olds, the younger people. We have 30 to 49-year-olds, a little bit older, but not old. And we have 50 people who are 50 years old and older. There wasn't many of them, but they are on the older side. So I felt the need to ask them, especially when it came to their physical pain. Um, I noticed that a lot of people who were new, like had been there under 6 months, were more, how can I say, they experienced more pain. And people who'd been there for 6 months to a year, they were more used to it. This is just the average of all the information I gathered. I probably interviewed around 15 people. I gave 15 people full interviews. And these are just the averages. But I feel like some people got more accustomed to it. And there's also like the age that plays a part. Some people are like, have chronic aches, some people don't. But this is just what I gathered, like information wise. Okay. And then I went ahead and while I was interviewing them about that, I asked if they had any mental health struggles. Now, the younger employees were more open to answering these questions. The older employees, they really didn't have much to say about it. They seemed like they didn't want to be bothered about it, which is fine. But this is what I came up with. But most who did say yes weren't like it's mental illness or anything. They were just, it was like a lack of stimulation. Because like I said, most of us do the same task over and over again throughout the day. When you get a task, you continue to do that task. You might do it at a different workstation, but you're doing the same task throughout the day. And it can be a lack of stimulation, which can be dangerous in the warehouse environment because there's a bunch of moving parts and things that can do this to you and things that can do that to you. So that's another problem in and of itself. Okay, I had a smaller set who said, yes, they have dark and or potentially harmful thoughts. These are people that definitely need somebody to talk to. There weren't many, but like I said, I had a sample set of like 15 people. So this is about 12.5 people recorded that. I had a 25% amount, 25% of my survey people who said like, yeah, I just need a little bit of help. Like they just need somebody to talk to about a specific problem. And they was like, even if they don't get it, they could probably work it out themselves in due time. But at the moment, they were just going to struggle with it, which is a lot of people are like that. And the other 25% was like, no, they're all good mentally. And this was mostly the older people. Please excuse the colors of the charts. I thought I was going a different direction with this presentation than what I did. So yeah. And then I did some more interviews to compare warehouses. So like I said, I work at SAF4. That's mostly, most people reported foot and back pain. We have startup stretching before we start the shift, but it's not really enforced and everybody doesn't really do it. It'll probably be like 10 people out of all the people that are coming into work that do it. And younger workers struggle with mental health more, or they report it more, like I said in the previous slide, and that's at SAF4 in Pooler, Georgia. At SAF7, the different warehouses of Amazon do different things. I'm not really sure what they do at SAF7, but I was told like they're mostly using machinery and it's pallets of things that they're moving around. I don't have a full understanding of it, but like I said, at SAF4, we mostly pack packages. But they report foot, back, and shoulder pain. They also have non-enforced stretching, and the younger people report struggling with mental issues, just like at SAF4. Okay. And I used to work at this warehouse called Martin's Bread in Valdosta, Georgia. I put in my 2 weeks around December of last year, so it's still a pretty fresh job. I still do remember a lot about it. And I still do have contact with a lot of the workers. And they mostly report foot and back pain. There is enforced stretching. Like you have to stretch at the beginning of the shift before we even hit the floor. They will watch you. You have to stretch. And the schedule has a greater effect on mental health than the lack of mental stimulation. But the younger people do still have more struggles with mental health than the older people. So all of these interviews and surveys led me to the conclusion that most Amazon employees, especially those in a warehouse, experience physical pain, and a substantial number report mental health or struggles with their mental health and a lack of stimulation for their mental health. Okay, now my recommendations for this, okay, there's physical pain. I wanted to recommend mats at workstations. This is something that I did experience at Martin's Bread. We had mats. Like I said, it's a warehouse, so you do have to stand up all day while you do whatever they task you with doing. And we had mats where we stood, and it did alleviate the pain of the feet. And I think when I was doing my research, you could get a good personal mat for around $20. And I would suggest that we have 500 of those to start off with. But I don't think everybody would need a mat, but just in case, I think 500 would be a good number. And I wanted to suggest shoe insoles for another 10,000. They are not as they don't have as much longevity as the mats. So these would have to be replaced bi-monthly. The mats could probably last like a year. So, I mean, however you wanted to do it. The shoe insoles, I do feel like that would be a big game changer though, because I had shoe insoles when I worked at Martin's Bread and my feet would hurt, and it did make things a lot better. Okay, for the mental struggles, this is my doozy of a recommendation. I wanted to suggest a licensed mental health team that is in-house in the wellness center, because every Amazon has a wellness center. In the wellness center, that workers could talk to, not that they could just run and talk to whenever they didn't want to do anything, but they could have like monthly or bi-monthly 45-minute checks just to see how everybody's hanging in there. And they could help workers balance out their work and life balance, because like I said, if you're in physical pain or you're having struggles with your mental health and you work a 12-hour shift, you wake up the next day. Some people have families that they have obligations to, like they have kids, have to get the kids to school, they have to take care of the kids. Some people have to take care of their elderly parents. And it's not always possible for them to go and get the help that they need, despite the fact that Amazon does offer benefits for only like half of their workers, because half are full-time workers and half are seasonal. I'm seasonal, so I don't get the benefits, but full-time workers do get benefits. And I feel like this team could also, like, for some people that needed more help, they could schedule with a licensed professional that they could talk to more freely than the in-house team. The in-house team can't be their like personal therapist. They're gonna have to go get some outside help. But this is a good start for them to get that outside help, in my opinion. Okay. And considering the complaints from the workers on the negative effects from the job on their health, these recommendations could drastically improve the employee's well-being. And like I've been saying this since we were tasked with coming up with a business proposal, that the more a worker feels cared for by the company, the better they work. And yes, like these are expenses and they're just for SAS 4 specifically. And Amazon does have a lot of warehouses, so they might have to implement this throughout multiple warehouses. But this is a multi-billion-dollar company. And Jeff Bezos, the CEO, he is a multimillionaire. He still pulls in plenty of money a year. So I feel like they are expensive. I'm not going to act like they're cheap. These are expensive recommendations, but for the morale of the workers and the productivity of the workers, and most importantly, the health of the workers, I feel like these are changes that should be made, or at least thought upon, and see how we can come up with something better. If they don't like my recommendations, come up with something better, because the well-being of workers is extremely important. And yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you. How do I get out of that? Let me escape this. Okay, take it to Zoom. Ooh.